Let us get ready to Courtroom Rumble. Welcome back to the stream, or if the VOD, if you're watching later. Looking forward to this again. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney. We are starting Trial 3, or Case 3, however you want to take it, because sometimes there's not a trial. There's always a case, though. I got to get in the habit of saying that. But I also need to figure out some new English accents. The generic one I was using for Holmes, not only do I need to think of some other ones, because there's going to be a lot of other characters, but I also know there's a lot more types in these upcoming 3 trials where it is more the type that would talk more in that more guttural or stereotypical Cockney English accent. And Holmes really should be a little bit more refined, or proper, or correct, or typical, and not just the stereotypical. So there's no way I'm going to come up with enough accents for all these people, but we will see. We're also going to see if anyone joins us for this stream. We had quite a bit of chatter during last Friday's stream. Not so much Mondays, but that was a morning stream, and I think I learned my lesson on that one. Early morning stream, bad call. I'm probably getting a lot of viewers from North America as opposed to other places. I haven't really checked my analytics. But, yeah. Clearly there is a time to be streaming when there is a lot of viewers, and there is a time where there is not. Even this is a little bit early, but it kind of fit my work day, so we're rolling with it. So let's go ahead. I was going to say a few other little things, but they can be saved for other times and other streams. This is the entertaining stream. This is not the chill stream. This is not the hypnosis stream, unless it spontaneously happens like it did with Celeste. This is the stream for us to have fun and enjoy a little story. So let us go ahead and get right on into the Great Ace Attorney. Hopefully the audio is good. And we will just make sure that everything is kind of positioned the way it should be here. Ideally, the audio is coming through well. Let me take a listen for that to be safe. Maybe. Yeah, okay, we're good. I think we're checked out. I think we're set. I think we're ready. So without further ado, let's get right into this SOB. So for those of you not familiar with the game, we are a Japanese student and assistant who got forced into this whole legal thing in Japan. We took a little trip over to London, where there was another case on the boat we were on, and we have arrived, and we are just kind of dropping ourselves into the middle of a whole new British culture with no idea what we're doing, and we're just going to lawyer it up. So let's get to it. Let's make with the lawyering. The Adventure of the Runaway Room.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter.
This, of course, is Holmes talking.
In a carriage, as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night.
Much better English accent than mine.
Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself.
Yeah, this trial's a weird one.
However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner.
I'm not too sure how many parts this is.
My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident...
Okay, so it's Watson talking.
I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude.
The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together.
That's me. He's talking about me, guys.
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
It's an interesting accent.
And look at all the steam locomotives.
It's an episode of Thomas the Tank Engine.
This country is incredible.
And cold.
I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure.
Right off. I hope they know there's a fee.
I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay.
That's a weird way for the doors to close. I wonder if that's legit.
And welcome to the centre of the world. Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
London! By Jove! Yeah, this place. This guy literally lives in one of my pocket watches. Why? Just why? Yeah, exactly. What an incredible place. That's a word for it. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. I gotta remember, accents, Psy'Min, accents. This place is breathtaking. It looks like a fortress. There are some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. But they've only been built in the few short decades since we opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from, way back in the day. It's certainly unfamiliar, but I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. It's a little ostentatious. What is this place again? We're inside Big Ben. This is the Lord Chief Justice's office, Naruhodo-san, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. The Lord Chief Justice. Right off the train, getting right into it. We had instructions to report here at the time if circumstances were different. We were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. No, so instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys, whatever, to report the news of Kazuma-san's demise. Yeah, and having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. So we'd have to return to Japan. If we want to remain here in Great Britain, I have to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour. Hi. Yes. Which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer. Which is what I've been studying for. Time for a new tutorial! Here in Great Britain is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way that we'll be able to remain here in London. I hope I'm up to scratch. That's an interesting saying, an interesting turn of phrase I don't hear often. Yes. The big dude. I guess we'll just go for low and commanding with this guy. Good morning. Sorry to keep you waiting. Sort of like with her dad. Yeah. Damon Gant's great ancestor. Oh, I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no, don't mention it. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. This guy's like me. He's got pocket watches and he snaps his fingers all the time. I love him. So, introductions. I am Maul Strongheart. This game has its names. Well, it's better than Beef Stroganoff. Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. Ugh, and I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Naruhodo-san. Don't be a mouse. Oh, It's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Let's see if I can put a bit of a British accent spin on that. Ah, yes, thank you. Conversation time. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, well, help. I've been here for 30 minutes. I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's snowing out. I like snow. It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo-san? Oh? We had a wonderful view of some of London's streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water, and gas. Even cables supplying this new electricity thing we just came up with. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh, yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Susato-san. And everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes, there's much excitement about the upcoming great exhibition we'll be hosting here in London. Great exhibition? Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Gosh! I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. Even if you do say so yourself, yep. Yet another person who believes all their own press. The sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. I'm a law student. How's it going? Lord Chief Justice? I think you were expecting a student of law for the study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. A Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. That's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news? Among other things, yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that's true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madame? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo-san here would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo? This is it, then. More BSing my way through stuff. BS option. The thing is, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Say what? Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country, and that was Mr. Asogi. At least, that is what I've been led to understand. Well, the thing is, this really isn't going well at all. Susato, jump in. I can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. Naruhodo-san! I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I gonna say? Do I get a choice? If there's someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer... Well, herpaderp. What do you think? It's me. I can do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but no qualifications, you say, and yet you still claim to be a lawyer. This is a regulated industry in this country, young man. I've acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. You're not as good at BSing as Phoenix is, I must say. And I had Kazuma to help me, and I was the accused, but glossing over those details. I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain studying. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Buria. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe. Not what you might call a full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Also, there was the point that Holmes made where it's like, yeah, you can have all the education you want in Japan. It doesn't mean nothing in Britain anyway, so whatever. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey had only just begun. Coming here on this study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. Uh-oh, everything he planned to do. I still don't know what that is. This is still a semi-blind playthrough. I'm still not sure what Kazuma was up to. But I have a feeling this guy does. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I would do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance, that's all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry? Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo. It was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. I didn't actually care what you said, I was just timing you. Which is a skill that would stand you in good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. This should be good. Huh? But let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? You say you intend to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Why does your staff have a toilet seat flusher on the end of it? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Swoosh. Am I imagining things? Or did his expression just alter a fraction there all of a sudden? Yeah, what was he up to? I'm curious how that's going to resolve itself. Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? Huh? So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Huh? Say what? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an apt trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as yet, so this will be welcome news. I didn't comment on this before, but I hate how they keep spelling defense with a C. I'm pretty sure that's technically grammatically correct, but it just looks weird with an S. Today? Straight away? Trial by fire, bitch. If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? How did I get myself in this situation? Well, could I ask, what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? This is an Ace Attorney game. It's a murder. Yes. Yes. Good question. Ah, I remember. It's a murder trial. Ah, murder? An extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. Oh, really? That's a hell of a thing to say. Yeah, that's easy to say. But I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will, of course, be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? He'll be put to death? Yep, no pressure. Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows, without exception. Presumably, you read that much in your short C-based introduction to British law. Well, we can't possibly agree to such a test. We would be toying with a man's life. I am the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable. I really don't like this guy. But you can't do that, can you? Talk to the toilet seat flusher. There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. Just win and everything's fine. What's the problem? So the defendant may live or die depending on how well I perform in court. Depending on how hard the mini-games are. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. You've activated my trap card. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi? I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. Did my toilet handle intimidate you? I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? I won't do it. Stream over. No. All right, then. If I have to give you a decision now, my answer is... I can't do it. I can't get the words out. Susato, save me again. 15 seconds. Your decision-making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. This is like the card swipe task in Among Us. Don't go too fast, don't go too slow, or else I don't approve. So, it's as I suspected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Did I just bad end because I didn't hit the button quick enough? Yes, Lord Strongheart. Oh, the stream is over. All right. Thank you for offering me a chance. Naruhodo-san. I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but what could I do? Answer quicker. It's all right. I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. But resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madame? I think what Miss Susato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly forgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. I'm impressed. I changed my mind. Wait, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. We will behead him in the middle of the trial. But that's awful. But that is the truth. Why does it have to be like this? Because he sucks. Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold, hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is my toilet flusher. But I'm not letting it go, so we'll send you. I'm really his only hope? So, what do you say now, madame? Me? What do you mean, Lone Stronghold? No, I was talking to the other one. I thought you were both girls. You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, and I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. And if you happen by the courtroom, have fun. He's gone. He did the fading thing. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Naruhodo-san, we must leave at once. Do I get to converse? This is probably just flavor, but... Oh, that's not the flavor pose. Nope, I'm not receiving flavor from this, am I? Miss Susato, can I just ask you something? Careful, from this position, I can perform a Susato takedown in an instant. I know. Naruhodo-san, you heard Lord Strongheart. The trial starts immediately. If I need to throw you all the way there, I will. You know, you could just say, I think we should hurry to the courtroom. If you need to ask me anything, it had better wait until we're at the Old Bailey. Fine. Movies. Movie to the move. Move to the move place. Look, Naruhodo-san, Bobby's. This music again, just like in our waiting room. Oh, thank goodness we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. Holy hell. You got here in 5 minutes. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination. 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. Do you know how much a guinea is, Susato? It's one of my favorite lines from the Sherlock Holmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Yeah. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. And we're broke. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants to wait in is grand. Are you alright, Naruhodo-san? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. It feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. There he is. Are we going Irish? Are we going Irish with this guy? I mean, it wouldn't be out of place considering him. Is that where the dialogue is going? We're just going to go full Jacksepticeye on this one. Oh, top of the morning to you, madam. Sir. Yeah, that'll function. What are you doing following me here? Things are fair desperate, aren't they? Sorry? Would you look at those expressionless faces from the East, are you? We're from Japan, yes. Oh, Japan, is it alright? Well, say no more. So, how much do you need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself, so have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. Peekaboo! 'Tis grand, 'tis grand! Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. 1,000 guineas? Please, Miss Susanoo, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? 'Tis nothing to me at all. I like to ensure that I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to build the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Hit me in the eye. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to you now, strings attached. I only want you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, 'tis a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for my good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'll be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial is going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. The Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Bluster and blazes, do you still know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? You look like one of those glow pop lollipops that people put on their fingers and lick. No, sorry, we only just arrived in the city, you see. See? I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park there in the centre of London is another beautiful park. Sorry, a park? What? 'Tis called McGilded Park, full of blossoming flowers in the spring, and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. An entire park in central London. A city of smiles, that's my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its quiet old people. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. But now they've the gall to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What's the matter with the London police, I ask ya? Alright, don't pass out, you little friggin' leprechaun. Naruhodo-san. Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves, while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Not the most athletic body, you can tell. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. Still not got my breath. So if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft Egypt? I'd give you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yeah, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. Test Chancellor of a fella claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all England? Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well? Nah. We'll be nice, we'll be charitable. Not at all, although it is a little strange to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Ah, yes. Sorry, did he just say Reaper? I mentioned before that Prosecutor Gatto was actually the inspiration for my in-real-life stage hypnosis costuming for my actual IRL shows. the Reaper, who is the primary antagonist attorney of this series, was actually going to be... His clothing was one of the partial inspirations I was going to use for the clothing for this avatar I'm using right now. Eventually I got lazy and thought better of the dark on dark and went with the white basic suit instead. But I like this guy's design. The attorney in this game is fun. Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Baron von Zeeks. He's the prosecutor. The prosecutor is the Grim... Yes, the literal Grim Reaper. Well, Von Zeeks stands for the prosecution. They call the accused as sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? So it's reached the desperate situation. Whereas there's no one willing to stand in defence against the fellow at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, Lord Baron von Zeeks. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then. No, not really. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? Oi! The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Get your asses in here. Make your way to the courtroom. The trial's about to begin. His counsel? Oh, that's me. Oh, 'tis time then. Well then, fella. Don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. I killed a guy. What's the problem? Until you showed your face here. I'd made up my mind, so I had. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? But then you made an appearance. A student of law, what you do. 'Tis no accident. I can assure you of that. 'Tis fate. So don't get cold feet now. Please. Please. I literally know nothing about the case. Or about this man who stands accused. Apparently he was beaten to death by a glow pop. I swear I know nothing about it. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I just can't turn my back on him. Naruhodo-san. The man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yeah, something that Kazuma would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you'll lose your right to stand. You'll have to sit for the rest of your life. I'll be right there. It's happening then. My first trial in a British courtroom. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Because I am screwed. So many voices. We'll see if we can do this in 2 streams. I can't remember if I mentioned it. But I'm pretty sure there's only one to be continued point in here. I was actually kind of surprised because I remember commenting that the second trial was a lot shorter than the first. It actually wasn't. Going back and looking at it, it was just a little bit longer, even though it had only 1 continued point instead of 2. We'll see how this one goes. Again, I remember very little about this game. Oh, so many people. So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Which is ironic because we're been eating so many words. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Naruhodo-san? Oh, yes, what? I was going to say he did his nervous jump there animation. Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. Would you like some sunglasses? I know, but I just can't help it. Hell yeah. Sup, Dracula? Okay, Santa Claus. What the hell voice do we give you? Kind of something closer to the old dude from the first game, the first case. Let's go Santa-ish. In the name of her... No, that's not Santa. That's old man. Let's... Ho, ho, ho. In the name... in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. Yeah, okay, that's not good, but it's what we'll do, because it's funny. We're here today to determine whether Magnus McGilded is naughty or nice. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and the defense to declare their willingness to proceed. We'll feel this guy out over time. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you understand English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course, sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. What the hell happened? I still don't know. Those eyes please me, Nipponese. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. A cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes. Now, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty, if found naughty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? We're super racist around here, still. As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give your opportunities to the young. Also, he's literally the only person who will do this. Even if the fella is a student from some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? Soft bigotry of low expectations, here I come. I'd like to think that acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen to Mr. McGilded, what a fine gentleman London has in him. Did you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Mom, can we go and play in McGilded Park? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Remember, my boy, cursed, I mentioned it. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. Ho, ho, ho. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? So many people. Yes, my lord. If the task is to send rotters to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Oh, this guy's like double cockney. Ha! Any criminals here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me. Nothing. We can drink it here, right? I feel a chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dearies. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these bits for my grandson, not listening to a word you're saying. Ah, Naruhodo-san, these people are... The jury. Yeah, that's something we don't have in Japan. That's right, I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. So we got another little mini game based on these guys where we got to find contradictions. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. Something sorely lacking by most Ace Attorney NPCs. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? It's cool with fireballs and stuff. That I don't know, but... I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. I can't wait to see how they condemn us. Prosecutor Van Zeeks. Ho, ho, ho. My lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounced your fame. My accent is just wandering all over the place. I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So, what brings you back? Is there some chance of circumstance for which the court should be aware? None of your damn business. I leave that to your imagination, my lord. So the Reaper's been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? I guess we learn more about him in the second game, hopefully. Don't lose heart, Naruhodo-san. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Still literally no idea what's going on. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. We must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. The incident took place in the late evening. 3 days passed. The hour was some minutes after 10. Must be really interesting for the defense to learn about the trial, during the trial, and from the prosecution. The victim was a maker of building bricks, known in the community as Thrice-Fired Mason. Sorry? Thrice? What's that word mean? He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. He was on the nice list. Now he's on the dead list. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger had been pierced into the victim's abdomen, is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. We think it's the cause of it. It's right up there. Here is the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, counsel. Thank you for the present. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence. Get my court record. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. And these are... Good Lord! Is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who'd arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilden's gloves had blood on them. Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. Angry Santa. How did I get into this? I'm backed into a corner before I've even started. Continuing to back you into a corner. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? One's dead, one's going to be. Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. How cool is my pointing? Oh, well, rather damning circumstances, to say the least. Ho, ho, ho. Defendant, what say you? 'Twas ketchup, I swear. Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. What you talking about? I was sleeping. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? 'Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord. Littleton, so it is. And when I opened my eyes again, 'twas a desperate sight before me. The body of a man I'd never laid eyes upon before in my life. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood got onto the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the driver's is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it. I said I'm backing you into a corner. There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Thank God they didn't have iPhones back then. Order! 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 When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage, and there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. More voices. Why? Stop. I picked a hell of a game to stream as my first visual novel. Witnesses, your names and occupations. My name is, well, everybody calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. My name's First. Lady, really? 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 Is that what I'm reading right now? Lady First? Carrying on. I make hats for gents. Let's begin by confirming the facts. Is that your actual fucking name? 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present to the stand were in an omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right? Yes, sir. That's right, sir. Very well, then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Witness testimony time. Whoop, whoop. That's my new witness testimony time song. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then, out of the blue, the accused just reaches over and plunges a knife right into his guts. That's right. He stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. I wasn't even paying attention to that. I was just trying to do the voices. Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Ho, ho, ho. Definitely naughty. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. How screwed am I? Yes, counsel? Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me. This testimony is really bad for me. Can we have it stricken from the record? Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. Again, you're the only person that doesn't know what the hell's going on. Who is this wild foreigner? How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? I've been here like 50 minutes, dude. Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you ever traveled in an omnibus? No, I just heard of omnibus now. It sounds delicious. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. We're gonna wheel that sucker right in here. The actual scene? How? The carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yeah. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building. What? Then the entire carriage? Bailiff. Bring forth the stricken omnibus. Literally just sitting there. I guess that's convenient for this. We don't get to know anything about it, so it's like, here's the literal murder scene. You know how Hosonaga used to steal everything? We stole the actual carriage. Plunked it right down in the middle of the courtroom. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. It's like they could just make bigger doors or something. As you can see, this omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside in the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. This sounds like a commercial, and I should point out to our foreign guests. That just seems weird to me. That there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Ladies, don't sit in here. Ah, skylight. Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. That makes perfect sense now. But I'm not going to say that out loud. Well, counsel, this is our first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought in the courtroom. What a lovely present. Ho, ho, ho. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence? That's neat. Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Time out! I need to spin this around in my court record. Give me a minute. Let us continue with proceedings, then. Your cross-examined, counsel. First of all, let's do exactly that here. Yep, spinny spin. Spinny, spinny, spin. I'm not sure how much of this I should really investigate at the moment, or how productive it would be. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Yeah, the testimony's going on. Meanwhile, Suzuto and me are just playing on it like a bunch of kids on a play structure. I can hide under the seats. It's so cool. That's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victim's, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab somebody in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark, and there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Man, the floor is so clean. Look at how clean the floor is, guys. It's like super duper mega ultra clean. Isn't that interesting? Is the door only on one side? I guess it is. Can I do this? This seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. Again, we're just in here playing while the testimony is going on. And only just wide enough for 2 gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated in here. Oh, well, sorry to hear that. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothing are very impractical, aren't they? Let's see. Does this... Whoops. I clicked right out of the screen there. Does this matter? Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. I wonder if that's going to be something that's a factor in the second game. This game doesn't last 6 months in game time, so... There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Oh, maybe it is, because we actually touched on this last case, because that revolutionary was supposedly going to bomb it. And we don't get resolution on that either. I'm really looking forward to the second game. Ooh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. Oh, it doesn't even exist yet. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. Positively fizzing. Fizzing is what they're doing, I say. Can I get out of here? Have you seen enough? Let's step back outside then. I wonder if that means I'm done. So, just for kicks and giggles, the blood is on this side, the driver's on this side, which means the two dudes were sitting up at the back and looking down through the sky. Yeah, that checks out. And that's how they get up. Phoenix Wright Omnibus. Well, well, well. Cute. Very cute. Is this a thing? It's not a thing. Is this... I guess this is... Oh, do I get a stepladder joke? No stepladder joke? No joke? No joke? I guess that couldn't be considered a stepladder by any measure. I gotta remember, keep an eye out for the stepladders, guys. You're playing an Ace Attorney game, that's the most important thing. Don't care. Don't care. Maybe don't care? 54, time of death. Stabbed, internal hemorrhaging, blah, blah, blah. Alright. Pray don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Yeah, well, your face is stupid. All right, my first cross-examination in a British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. I mean, something I have needs to contradict something in here, so I need to figure out what that is. All right. Now that we've taken a quick look at the evidence, let's see about this. Oh, it was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Okay, the victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Let me review this quick again. Last bus of the evening, few customers. Then out of the blue, the accused just reaches over and plunges a knife right in his guts. That's right. He stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus. And then I saw it too. Alright, let's press these bastards, because I don't really see what there is to contradict here.
Hold it!
Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir, that's right, sir. Yes, sir. Ever so cold it was, sir. Freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same part of the bus, of course, though, no. Of course, we got our ability to do this. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that. Nope, none. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then. I have to say, the boss insists on it running, he does. Every evening, that last bus of the day. He didn't see it until after they stopped, Jay, so that's his part of the testimony. Otherwise, yeah, he's literally looking away from everything. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, what with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see. Oh, this is going to be a factor. Yes, I spent that much at the pub on my way home again, just trying to warm up. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other in the bus.
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight and the roof of the carriage. That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. Ah, here we go. The two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? Mr. Gilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Dude looks like a lollipop. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There is no room for doubt here, just like every other time the prosecution is wrong. I really wish there was. Then out of the blue, the accused just reaches over and plunges a knife right into his guts. You actually saw the exact moment it happened? Didn't I already testify to that? Or are fair dinkum, hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? Oh, no. I didn't mean that. This is no good. I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail if you... Uh-oh. Are we literally going straight to this? My lord! Juror number 3, what's the meaning of this? My mind's made up. I'm done. Going for lunch. Completely and utterly made up. F this. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. Totally impartial. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, you can't fool me, so I was right to make him Irish. Hadouken! There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. That's precisely what I was about to say. In the exact same accent, too. As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. Hadouken! They call me Fireball because I'm downright fierce. What the? What's happening here? Why are we playing Street Fighter all of a sudden? Let me see. Ah, yes. It seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fireballs? Do you know how to parry, Naruhodo-san? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their mind about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. Oh, I can't wait to fire my fireball, oh dearie. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... bad things, yes. Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Should I have just not pressed that? Maybe I had to. Very well, the court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. This is a nightmare. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed and I did. Couldn't help it. Am I just going to get screwed by the jury? I'm just going to press myself into oblivion and then I'm going to have to play this stupid little minigame, aren't I? That's why I can't see a contradiction here. Alright, part 4. I got to press it.
Hold it!
Hold it! Let me dig myself even deeper. He stabbed him, you say, and you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fella that was stabbed. I'd been thinking about a new hat design, you see. Well, it doesn't look so god-awful, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out of his belly, that huge great knife. A grim sight indeed. That didn't help me at all. Here comes more Hadoukens. Fireball spam. The jury looked like they're even more... They're not even paying attention. This is the equivalent of everyone checking their iPhones. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. We got lots of evidence. None of it is useful. Mr. First. Oh, yes, sir. Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief, yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Why is this not entered in evidence? Is that? Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly, like a stake, through the heart. That is a blade of considerable size, counsel. That's what she said. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Oh no, not that letter. M for Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, possibly. Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
So clever. At least I'm not saying yes anymore. But there are M's everywhere! Like yes! Like in Mason!
Objection!
He's got a point. This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. I've never seen it before in my life! Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel. Ho, ho, ho. Is the jury about to shit on me again? Yep, they are. My lord, if you forgive the interruption. Ah, juror number 2. Go on. I have a name. Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. No! Hadouken! I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Hold it! Oh, you get to talk. I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts on the internet. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Hadouken! Would you please stop doing that? That's 4 out of 6 jury members who've proposed a guilty verdict. Am I going to get the last 2 on the final? There are only 2 left. Yeah, every time I press the witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. That's what I thought. I'm in a have-to-lose boss fight. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. Even if it totally freaking condemns us, we're still very much in the dark. We need more fireballs. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give enough hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. But... alright, I'll keep trying. I think I'm in a have-to-lose fight here. Oh well. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. As soon as I heard the screams, I stopped my bus. And then I saw it too. So that's the part I was talking about, Jay. Oh, I meant to press that, damn it. Alright, so when it happened, the only 2 people in the enclosed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. And so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend doing the deed. It's still not as bad as Rise from the Ashes. I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. Ugh. What am I supposed to think here? What the hell was Strongheart talking about when he said this was going to be easy? Is Mr. McGilded really innocent? Or could it be? You have to believe in your client. Remember what Armaya said. Before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Which is to say, at all. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to those witnesses' statements again, a little more carefully this time, and get screwed some more. Where's number 5? There we go. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus. And then I saw it too. What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Yes, collapsed on the floor, he was. And by the passenger, obviously you were referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And then the other passenger had that knife in his hand, like this. By the other passenger, obviously you were referring to the accused, Mr. McGilded, Mr. Mason McGilded, many M's. And then he punched it down, like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. What? And there go our last 2 jurors. My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, juror number 5, do I take it that you, too, as the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. Wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. But I've heard enough now. The horse is bolted, as they say. No, please, just keep an open mind a little longer. Giddy up now, Silver Blaze. The finish is in sight. Hadouken! Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. This is too unkind, sir. Hey, Granny. Which now means that 5 jurors agree to condemn the man. I wonder what would happen if I pressed this out of order. Now I'm curious. Hey, Granny. Just knitting away. Haven't heard nothing. Oh my hearing aid wasn't on the whole time. Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dearie. What can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh, yes. I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Oh. Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning? Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with me knitting. Also, it's an Ace Attorney game. The defendant is always innocent. I'm just waiting for that part. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. The gentleman donated to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine, young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things for the city. Ah, this is where Van Zeek smears me. That's right. A man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely. Mom, can we go to the McGilded Public Library later and borrow some more books? You all suck. How many Londoners live with their head in the clouds? Do you people not know what kind of a man Mr. Magnus McGilded really is? What kind of a man he is, that doesn't matter. The philanthropist, Magnus McGilded, has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. What? What is that word? I don't know English words. Stone the crows! What the hell kind of saying is that? Mr. McGilded lends money at extortion rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak. How did he get that much money and still manage to maintain a positive reputation? I've never heard any mention of that before. Are you knitting a huge set of knickers with a heart on them? Good lord. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man, wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety, not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service. You're not saying that... The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing in his name, save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment debt for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded. I don't believe it! If I might add something briefly, what the hell does this have to do with the case? Miss Suzuto, you claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. But where is the evidence to support your claim? Right here, motherfuckers. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of law. Ah, there it is. Lord Van Zeek's hallowed chalice. Okay. We allow drinking in this courtroom. At least 2 alcoholics here. How can this be considered acceptable? But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Huh? As judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. I don't submit all the evidence up front. I wait for you to ask for it so I can beat you down with it. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Crap baskets. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, Counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. Also pour me a glass. Ah, yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum, and the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. It is such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel! Hadouken! Still, maybe it's all for the best. Ah, wait a minute. Let's think about this a little more. I don't stand for nonsense. That's not how I raise my kids. Combo. That was it. The last juror's decision. You done goofed, Naruhodo. According to this Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Well, it's been a good stream. That's what it says here. The final verdict. It's over then. Oh! There's a footnote, though. A footnote? However, the defense, all 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. I don't give a damn what your book says. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial. Ho, ho, ho. By delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections. Miss Suzuto, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. However, the defense, with a C... What did it say next? Oh, yes, of course. One moment. I lost my page. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what I was afraid you said. And the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. Those are big English words. I don't know what they mean. A summation examination. Objection. A summation examination. From which century has that tomb you have there been resurrected? Huh? Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. Even though we're going to do it a bunch during these cases. It's a relic, long forgotten, and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. But bluffing on technicalities is our speciality. What even is it, Miss Suzuto? This so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment. I lost my page again. I'll read about it. The defense calls time out. You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails. Typical Nipponese. All right, Naruhodo-san, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what exactly? Appeal to them by changing their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions. This is a long explanation for a minigame, guys. Hooray for tutorials. Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of formality with no practical benefit, really, so it rather fell out of use. Ho, ho, ho. I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age. Do we look like we have respect? Still. I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? You didn't ban this card. We get to use it. I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Naruhodo-san? I think if we don't do it, we lose, so hell with it. A summation examination, our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out, or admit defeat? Forget it, stream's over. Nah, screw that. The defense wishes to assert its right to the thing that she said, my lord.
Objection!
Whatever it was. London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried. Still not a banned card. But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it could prove vital to this trial. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. That card still works. It hasn't been banned. The court will proceed with the summation examination. This is madness. You're cheating. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? What? Well, I mean, I didn't expect to, have to actually answer for what I was doing. I mean, there's no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so... All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their destination. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty.
Well, my lord, you rather put us on the spot. I thought we just had to throw yea or nay.
This is most irregular. No mention of this was made before.
I don't really hold with all this justifying lark. Just do what I want to do.
That seems to have thrown the jurors off.
It seems none of them have experienced this before.
All right then, the summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? This is like when you throw the really obscure non-meta card out that no one knows how to deal with.
Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around.
So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Mr. McGilded, naughty of this most serious crime. Mini-game time. I can't wait for this to get more streamlined later after we're used to it.
There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it had to have been him.
I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers, with fares totaling 20 pence.
Yeah, that 20 pence is going to come into play. They keep repeating it.
He stuck the chat next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. I'm from Clockwork Orange.
I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion.
You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years.
There we go. 4 passengers, 4 pence. That ain't 20 pence.
The scoundrel! Stabbing that poor man on the floor! It beggars belief!
It wasn't on the floor. I don't know what it has to do with bloody anything, but that money is going to come into play. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now.
Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they?
Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I have to throw everything I can at them, and use some very persuasive language.
Just a moment, Naruhodo-san.
Do you have a whip? I hear that works.
According to my book, that's not quite how it works.
Damn it, I want my whip.
Oh?
I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant.
Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they've reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become.
Yes, reverse psychology. Don't do that.
Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Well, maybe you had something with that whip idea. Oh dear, I'm just citing what I read about British law, Naruhodo-san.
Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then?
Fresh out of whips. Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments.
What do you mean?
Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a unified front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in this courtroom together.
And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Man, this drags on when you're just learning the new stuff. We've been streaming for over an hour and a half. It does not feel like an hour and a half.
Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can then contrast the statements and pick the corresponding jurors against each other.
Yep, Jay, pretty much. Pretty much correct.
I see, so it's contradictions of what 2 or more juries say that we're looking for.
Like that bit about the money that Psy'Min was talking about. This is similar to a regular cross-examination.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. It's almost like all these minigames have something in common.
Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down.
I wish I could shoot people at other people in Danganronpa. That would be much more entertaining.
Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off.
Can we start already? You guys have been expositioning for a while now. I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Now, do I press these guys, or do I just go? I think pressing them can change them sometimes, but I don't think I have to do that for this one. It doesn't seem like I do.
There was no one else in the carriage at the time, so it had to have been him.
I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, he seems. 4 passengers, with fares totaling 20 pence.
So that's going to be the contradiction against juror number 5.
He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen.
I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusions.
Yeah, you can get away. What you should do is you should write a book and call it Humans Are Stupid. What's that book I read? You Are Not So Smart. I forget the author, but yeah, same concept. Humans are not so smart. So that juror number 4 doesn't seem like she's going to be useful.
You can trust the guild. Fair fires is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence in years.
So that's one contradiction. This is the other one. She's going to have to contrast with Clockwork Orange over there.
Stab at that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief.
Okay, so just for kicks and... Oh, right. I keep forgetting clicking the arrow to go back doesn't actually go back. I have to hit right click. So we just need to find 2 jurors with contradictory statements and pit them against each other. Like Pokemon. Which is so much easier said than done.
Is that perhaps what you were just thinking?
How did you know?
Well, I took the liberty of doing some research in case you happen to find yourself in just such a situation. Shall I read what I found out? It is a little long, I'm afraid.
Hell no, we already did the tutorial. Put your stupid book away. If I have to rely on advice right from the start, how will I get on later? Yeah, let's just do it. I need to work this out for myself.
Is that perhaps what you were just thinking?
Was that her name on the text box? I didn't even notice.
How did you know?
Well, that sort of attitude
is most admirable, Naruhodo-san.
I know what I have to do. Let's listen to those assertions one more time. Alright, let's press you for kicks and giggles, even though I don't think you have anything to do with anything.
Hold it!
Certainly the testimonies we've heard suggest the victim and Mr. McGilded were alone inside the carriage.
Precisely my point.
But, could there be some other explanation? Something we haven't considered yet, like ghosts?
Such as?
Perhaps that's something we could, all work out together now.
Now listen here. Maybe you don't know how things work around here because you're from foreign climes. But we're here to form our opinion as individuals, and I have.
Oh dear, he doesn't appear to be in the mood to consider an alternative point of view, does he? No, I'm gonna have to pit the jurors against one another like Susato said. But not him. Finding contradictions in these 6 people's assertions is the only way I'm gonna succeed. Yeah, so he's worthless, but we knew that. It's 2 versus 5 and 3 versus 6 from the look of it. Let's press you for kicks and giggles. But does his ability to recall his takings that night really tell us how trustworthy the man is?
I managed all his lordship's cash affairs, so I'm very particular when it comes to accounts.
I see.
A single penny can mean the difference between life and death after all, can't it?
That's a saying in your country?
My point is, a man who minds his figures is a man you can trust. Those of us in service would swear to that, sir.
Does that bench really need any more polishing?
So if the good driver says that he saw Mr. McGilded in the act, I don't doubt him. The only task left to do today is disposing of the rubbish.
Now wait a minute. One of the other jurors mentioned something about money, I think.
Now would be a very good time to listen carefully to the jurors' statements again, Naruhodo-san.
So yeah, that's one and the other one's the other one. If you notice an inconsistency in what 2 different jurors are saying, I should expose it by pitting them against each other. These guys don't seem to be saying anything super interesting. So you know what? Let's just kind of go with it. 20 pence. So 4 passengers, 20 pence. We want to pit you against... Oh, there we go. It says the 3 or the 2 sayings. So 4 pence for 4 passengers does not total 20.
Objection!
You guys suck at math! These two statements clearly contradict each other. They do. Explain yourself, counsel.
Me? What did I say? What are you picking on me for?
I swear on Silver Blaze's mane and name, I haven't the first idea what you're talking about.
According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus in the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right, I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence.
That it is. A fair and a convenient single price, just the way London's carriages should be operated.
But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. See, Asians are better at math than British people, so you should listen to me.
Why, man, why?
4 passengers paying 4 pence each, if you do the multiplication, it would be 16 pence.
Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different.
By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare.
1 person's fare?
Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about.
Good gracious! This can't be right! The coachman of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword.
The figures your coachman claimed most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy.
The hell you say? I beg your pardon.
Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news would surely spread all over London. I'm going to guilt you into this like a motherfucker. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus.
What? You're going to give me a bad review on Yelp? Don't do that. All right then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end, huh?
Well, according to my book here, you gotta do the other Hadoken. You launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of scales. Because that's what we do, we throw fireballs at innocent.
Now hold your horses there, coachman. We were all in agreement, everything was fine, I was ready to go home for lunch. What the hell? Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo. Oh, shit! This is all very irritating.
Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same. Hadoken! Kai Koken!
For the love of Mike! Who the hell is Mike? Not you as well?
A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Naruhodo-san. You did it. You passed the tutorial almost. If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, Van Zeeks will have to come back from his nap. We can force the trial to continue. 2 more, actually. There is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions, even though they seem awfully trivial. And that's where you must strike next. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's a contradiction in their assumptions. Exactly, you can do it.
Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavily on the side of naughty. Ho, ho, ho. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination thingamajiggy in the bookie thing.
Did the music change on me? Hey, look at that. She's on our side. So, next... How do we switch him here? Can I go back? No, I can't. I have to right-click. Weird.
He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen.
And... I don't know where she's coming from, because no one ever said anything like this. Stop at that poor man on the floor. No, I didn't. You're a big dumb, but it serves my purposes, so... Pokemon fight!
Dun, 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 dun. Those two statements are completely contradictory. What? Explain, Counsel. Post-haste.
Oh, dearie me, I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. Is that what that is?
What's all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you?
We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3...
What? Can't you see I'm busy here? Vandalizing city property?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it?
Ha! Want to test me, do you? It was like this, sticking the fella next to him without even getting up. Just like the prime banker said.
Would you stop thrusting that toward me? Jesus Christ.
Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true.
Now then, jury number 6. Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madame? Oh, well, dear me, as far as I understand it. It was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so.
Did he? I
don't remember that. Now, don't move. Take a look at these two jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. Let's nitpick our way to victory.
Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions.
What? Bless my stitches, what a muddle. Muddle's another fun word. What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth.
Oh, but why? Why the dickens would I lie?
I don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if this trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience? Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide people telling lies. Kaikoken. The ladies can cast Kaikoken and the men can cast Hadoken. That's how we'll do it. The scales!
Oh, I don't believe it, even though I helped! Wait! Now, hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious, even sorcerer using magic on us all.
Boy, relatable. How often do I hear that? I mean, I'm not Eastern, but, you know. If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this? Let me teach you hypnosis, Naruhodo.
Answer me this, dark jinx.
What am I, a video game boss?
Huh? Me?
Oh, I am a Pokemon. I'm Jinx.
What exactly is the problem? What of it if these two witnesses have slightly different recollections of events?
What of it?
Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was standing next to him, as he sat next to him in the omnibus, and this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, and then the Shylock stabbed him again, and then this old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, huh? Who are you calling a dandy, sir? Why, I should take my knife. I should take this knife to you.
Who are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you. I'm going to assume the autopsy report is going to say he was only stabbed once, and that's going to be our out. In fact, let's just take a looky look. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife while journeying in an omnibus. This This plot device comes up like every other trial in this series. He was stabbed twice. Nuh-uh. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Nope. Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? Nope. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman.
What is it, you Doc Jakes? Come on out with it.
What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question.
What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You didn't realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me some proof.
It looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. When someone asks me like 3 or 4 times for evidence and proof, that means there's something in the court record. As you wish.
What?
I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime, as proven by this thing. As proven by my armband. Nope.
Take that!
Just huck it at him like a frisbee. This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen only once.
Only once?
It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these two witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times. Wait a minute, where'd the knife go? It literally vanished.
We do have a magician. All right, I concede defeat. Hadouken!
Hey, I did it. Cool. That means I win. That means I did the thing. 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty.
What the hell is wrong with you lot?
We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo-san. I love that animation. We've won. Shoryuken. We're still playing Street Fighter.
What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. Even though we sound exactly the same. No one deceives me. But we had a consensus. I said, shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair of his head off. God, I'm creepy as hell.
Please tell me he's a barber.
Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for naughty and 4 for nice. Ho ho ho. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate, and the trial must continue. Still literally on the first witness testimony. My God. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth.
You've got to be kidding me.
So,
Lord Van Zeeks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. My God. I'm not nearly drunk enough for this. Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Zeeks!
Is it cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiquated tomb no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. I greatly enjoyed my nap, so I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury.
Don't look at us!
Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No. And why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence, after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Is the kid got... Yep, there we go. I was only at 50% of my full power. Bring forth the witnesses once more. I want to imagine that just gracefully lands on a hook somewhere. Witnesses. Now I'm pissed. I trust you've heard the summation examination we have just had to endure.
Oh, yes, sir. That I did, sir.
Of course I heard it.
Oh, yes, sir. I heard it.
You, sir, on the end. The coachman. I believe it's Beppo.
Yes, sir. My lord, sir. Is this a name from a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure character?
If it transpires that in your previous testimony you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir.
No, I just suck at math. Oh, Medea.
Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. Do they do the same testimony, or are we getting a new one? You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination thingamajiggamabobble. Ah, interesting. So we had no chance in the last witness testimony. It was just for the sake of triggering the jury. All right, fair enough. Let's give her.
I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it. But,
Well, I for one was told that I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. Oh, I'm pissed. I'm out of pence. You owe me, old man.
He fiddled us on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
Oh, I tell you, I saw Gilded stabbing the man. Everything I said before stands.
Oh, yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes.
Hey, you didn't see nothing, old dude. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. I can't. This is bullcrap. The phantom fifth passenger, conjured into existence by my learned English friend, never existed. I'm literally face-palming at this nonsense. The confusion has arisen from the coach's sly little cosionnage. Maybe. I have no idea how to pronounce anything he said.
Beppo, explain yourself.
I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster.
The guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. And want you to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare.
It's so cold. And the last run of the day is always half empty.
How do you get away with that? Someone's going to call you on it. It's not like people that don't take the bus know what the bus fare is.
You've been dishonest, coachman.
I'm sorry.
You're a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild.
If I may, sir. I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week.
What?
4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently.
No, that figures. Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. I don't care how good you Asians are at math. You're wrong.
Absolutely.
I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it. But,
we'll review real quick.
Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 cents for the bus. I am still steamed about that. I am going to lose sleep for weeks over this.
He fiddled us on the fair, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
I tell you, I saw McGilda stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. You still owe me a pence, though.
Oh, yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so. Yes.
Do I want to continue through this? Let's do it real quick. I hope this gets quicker.
Not long ago, this trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow we managed to keep our chances alive here. I can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it to bring some new facts to light. Press all the things. If you're not careful when you press these witnesses, well, maybe not. The danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful as they did before.
Well, dicks.
But we can't let the fear of that happening stop us from uncovering important new information. Yes, you're so right.
I'm going to parry all those fireballs. I need to pay careful attention here. I don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. Oh, we're going to have to watch for that again.
Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting in a strange way, don't hesitate to pursue them as to the reason.
Alright, so that's what we're doing. We're pressing and we're looking for reactions. And we're starting with you.
Hold it!
What's with this
So there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them the standard 4 pence fare. Is that right? It's impossible to make the last run of the day pay. I was so cold. It was all I could do to stop myself passing out.
I'm getting chilblains just listening to you.
It was terrible, so I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the buses running.
It's not that cold in here, dude.
Doesn't a dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per paying passenger?
You're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. If only there had been a 5th passenger on the omnibus that night. Yeah, that actually would have worked better for us. I kind of wish they had gone that route, but no, I guess the dude's just confessing he's a crook.
Then we would have had another suspect.
Glad you don't.
Well, I, for one, was told I had to pay 5 cents for the bus. 5 pence. 5. Not 4. 5. Still mad. Not forgiving. Whoops. Excuse me, I'm not done yet. Could you go back to my testimony?
Hold it!
Thank you.
Does that mean everyone on board that night paid 5 pence instead of 4? Well, I paid 5 pence too, sir.
And I just told you that I did.
A fare of 5 pence across the board. I was fairly unfair.
This isn't something to be proud of. The so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone, dead, and buried.
I'd have been happy if it had ever existed in the first place. He fiddled us on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
Hold it!
This blood-curdling sight. You mean the murder, I presume? Yes, sir.
A loathsome sight. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of a man the moment his life is taken.
Oh, well, I mean, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed.
Good gracious, really?
I said that earlier.
We have another witness who did, however. The banker's already testified to it.
But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. I heard the banker gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath, see? That's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw that horrible blade poking out of his belly, all covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating.
I tell you, I saw McGilda stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Don't skip me this time.
So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGilda, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him?
That's what I said, isn't it?
It was bothering me before this was.
For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question.
Anyway, there was only the two of them inside the carriage, wasn't there?
There's been much talk of a fifth passenger, but as yet, zero evidence.
Then what are we wasting all this time for, eh? It's black and white. Man's guilty.
Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. I wish I could work out what it was. So do I present evidence there, or am I going to get something from this guy? Well, we'll see if we get this guy. Yeah, the animations of this game are always cute, Jay. I don't know if you've ever played any of these games, but they got some character.
Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's not right. You were driving, asshole.
You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip.
Oh, that's where the granny got that from.
I suppose I might have, yes, put the cart before the horse, maybe.
What's this? This Beppo guy. Why is he still up here?
Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I mean, I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. I screamed like a little girl. That's when I turned around. Yes, I saw through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes. And the fellow holding the handle was the famous man. Yes, the glow pop. So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all.
And that angle doesn't work either. Who do I press? Do I press this guy or the other guy? Or is there going to be a reaction in a minute?
I really thought that I did, but when I go over it again in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing, did I?
Well, there we go. Okay, buddy. That's not what that's for. That's not. You're just gonna keep just doing the yeah. Okay, well, that's not good for your teeth, man.
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay?
Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. You didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that, eh?
Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from him if I ask him cleverly.
Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed?
What the hell kind of option is some days are like that? You don't think it'd be like that, but it do. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? He didn't see the precise moment. So is this guy freaking out because out of the three witnesses, he's the only one that claims he saw it, and he's assuming that's going to make us doubt him. I can't really think of a reason why he would have missed it. He could have just casually been looking down. But it also told me, hey, I might be able to extract some new information if I answer cleverly. What if I do say some days are like that? Maybe if I just casually agree with him and then it makes him drop his guard a bit. I can try this again later, I'm sure. So let's, just because it amuses me. Hey, some days are like that. You don't think it'd be like that, but it do.
Well, I suppose some days are like that. Sooner or later, you see something you wish you hadn't.
If you're always peeping through a skylight on the top of an omnibus, like a peeping peeper person.
Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know, and I know what I saw. I remember it clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you.
Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Add that to your testimony so we can press it some more.
Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord.
I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Yep, there we go. Okay.
Oh, I can do that all right. I'll tell you just how grim it was.
Here we go.
Do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man?
Oh, okay, well, you could have made that less obvious. You know what? I'm not even pressing your ass with that. Do those look like hands? Nope.
Objection!
Hey, fair play. Catch these hands. Blood-soaked hands.
Well, I admit the soaked might be laying along a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar.
What? What you say?
Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question.
Oh, yes, right.
And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. Really? That's even more of a nitpick than I thought. Because he said both we get to throw gloves at him. Just... You're really doing a number on your dental work there, buddy.
In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony's inconsistent.
I guess it's a fair play to ask someone for details and see if they actually know what's going on, but these guys volunteer up way too much.
But, no, that can't be right.
So you're the liar here then. You're getting such a spanking later.
That's right. You were quite clear about it. You said that it was both hands.
Dude.
Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. All of you are big fat liars. You said you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth? I mean, well,
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands. It was only one, but the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands, which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. What? Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate. He's claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case?
Naruhodo-san, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying,
Oh? Do we?
it could turn the tide in this trial completely.
Oh, is his name in McGilded's ledger? We haven't is that in evidence? We need to look at that. I'll bet his name's in there.
Something to show this man had a compelling reason to lie in his testimony.
Okay. Before we say I have evidence, because I'm pretty sure we do have evidence, a catalog of people who have borrowed money. Flicker open.
This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside?
Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? We can't be intruding on their privacy if we don't really know who they are, so it's fine. Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. He'll show up later. Actually, I wonder.
I assure you we will not find Mr. Holmes's name inside.
But what if we did? Wouldn't that be funny? Well, let's see what we find. There's no way Fairplay's name isn't on here somewhere. No bloody way.
Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it?
Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off.
Ah, goodness! What is it? Look at this. Do you see the name here?
Bruce Fairplay. No kidding. Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually.
Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment.
Oh yeah, the banker. Why is his name in here?
Oh, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course, but this could be very useful information.
Hell yeah, and I had to examine this so I could update the note. Alright. I had a feeling that might be it. I mean, what the hell else in here has anything to do with this guy? I have evidence. You boned.
My lord. Yes, counsel? The defense is ready to present evidence. By Jove, are you sure? Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony. This entire group sucks donkey balls. Very well, I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court. Take that.
Take that!
Is this a present for me? Ho, ho, ho. This is a list of the debtors who owed money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims, crippled by the accused's extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No, well, I mean, it's barely worthy of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Ah, crap baskets. Well, what of it? Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist. Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw, in a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant? What? Ah! I really just like biting my cane. I saw the glue pop in his head and I just started putting things in my mouth. Order, 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 Mr. Fairplay. Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again, and be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Well, you see, maybe, I did a thing, your silence speaks. I was saying a bunch of things. They just didn't have any relevance. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. All right. Now, let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilded's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying.
I haven't been busted for anything yet, have I? I wonder if I might be allowed to speak so I can be busted for something, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens.
Seeing what?
The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one.
What? What? What are you smacking yourself against the wall for? This is good for us. It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. Let's just keep dragging this out. This time I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Naruhodo-san, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last.
Yeah, I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. What the witnesses really saw. This should be the name of every third or fourth witness testimony in a trial, because every witness is absolutely full of horse crap, and it takes 3 or 4 perjuries to get them to actually what they want to say. Okay, witness testimony for real this time. Okay, go. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I still want my 1 pence.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself, no, not until I heard the scream.
Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, and we'd have all seen it.
There's that wig again. Well, lo and behold. In truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. Naughty list for all of you. I apologize, my lord. Please, no call. But honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man did it. That's really not what testimony's all about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witnesses' accounts. In other words, there is no substantial or significant changes in the facts of the case. Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord.
Alrighty. How we press these bastards now?
There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. Ugh.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. Well, I didn't actually see anything myself. Nope, not until I heard the scream.
Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside the carriage, or we all would have seen.
So that's our testimony. She's just hunkered down and ready for action.
Mr. Fairplay didn't see Mr. Mason being stabbed at all. That's a hugely significant change in the facts of the case.
And there's something else that occurred to me while listening to the witnesses' latest testimony. 2 of them are recounting what they saw through the skylight in the omnibus roof.
I know it's a large window and certainly affords a good view of the inside, but, well, I think perhaps we ought to confirm what they're saying with our own eyes as much as possible.
What do you mean?
It's time to play on the wagon again. I mean that we can examine the evidence firsthand. The omnibus is here in the courtroom after all.
That's a good idea, and we can consider the witnesses' statements while we're looking around.
There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that.
Okay, let's take a quick looky-see at this boy. So they would have been sitting up here, looking down. I can't even get a good angle on that. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. This is the weirdest skylight. You're just going to put your feet on it. You're going to see down people's clothes. Like, what? Why? What is this? There's windows in the carriage. You don't need this.
Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly.
That's not good for us. Don't say that out loud. What about the bench? Is that a thing? Or am I just going to get the same thing? So this is the roof deck. Okay, different text.
Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here.
So people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with the cold air rushing past them? And they have to pay money to do that?
I can't imagine how cold it must feel.
That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as a punishment?
Perhaps that's the real price you pay to stay out late.
Alright. Zero useful out of that. What was the other thing I wanted to look at here? I want to look at this. No, that's not what I wanted to look at. Oh, what I wanted to look at was the image of looking down through the glass, but that's not evidence. That's just something we've been flashing back to. Alright. Let's do the pressy press thing.
Hold it!
No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record. I'm well aware of that fact, sir, but nonetheless,
I know what I saw, and I stand by it. The man had blood on both his hands.
He's defiant, even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. But why? Maybe he's not mistaken.
Your reasoning is dire.
What?
One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused's fingers. Guiltily. Guiltily, I say.
However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. You skipped over me again, you dink. Get back here.
Hold it!
Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance as well you know.
Oh, but for crying out loud, we all know that no one else could possibly have done it. What's a little perjury among friends? I was just trying to save us all some time.
You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? I'm not letting you forget about this. Nope, gonna keep saying it. And you hope to release yourself from that financial burden by assuring the defendant was found guilty? You seem a little biased. Maybe you shouldn't be up there.
Oh, well, that's not entirely not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea at 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the derby, that's all. I was going to win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend, it's a sure thing.
Boy's got a bit of a problem.
A little guinea or 10?
An actual guinea pig. I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend.
Not things you should be admitting in a court of law, buddy.
I think you may have revealed more about your character than you bargained for, sir.
Boy, my throat just got sore there. I have a feeling we're coming up on that to be continued at some point. I'm not sure when, but we've been going for a while. I'm fine with it, though. Like I was saying, this should be a two-parter. That's cool. This witness's scruples are not on trial here. They're kind of relevant, dude. Proceed to the next witness.
Is that really how it's supposed to work?
I feel like he's not being partial. I feel like he might have a little bit of a stake in this.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them.
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too? Blood on both hands? Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Minister McGilden's gloves had any signs of blood on it.
That's right.
The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilden sitting beside the other fella, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. He wasn't wearing these gloves. That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. It's true that the dark colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see.
I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilden's gloved hands.
There wasn't blood on his hands. There's like 3 different things going on here. This is puzzling indeed. This must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it.
Nope, not significant. Nope. I didn't actually see anything myself either. Nope. Not until I heard that scream. Not even sure why I'm up here either.
Hold it!
You didn't see anything. Oh, yes, sir, that is to say. No, sir, I didn't. Very sorry about what I said before, sir. Yes, very sorry. I'll get you your 1 pence, I swear. Please don't hit me with your cane. It's very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab a man. Really shouldn't do that. Wouldn't you agree?
I know what you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. Thief.
Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it? No, sir. I saw nothing at all. Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets, no? The hell are you on about? Oh, please, you didn't even see that? I'm actually blind. It was so cold that night, you see. It was all I could do to keep from passing out, sir. I just let the horses do their thing. Our carriage was actually running from Germany. What the hell am I doing in here? Yes, my head was fairly frozen solid. Sorry to say, sir.
It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. Seriously, what the hell?
Beppo, do you have any idea how bad you're making us look?
Anyway, the fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen.
I have a feeling this is what's going to be the sticking point.
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, Jay. Always nice to see you and anyone else around here. Looking forward to seeing you later. I got to catch one of your streams live one of these days, too. So, haven't done it yet, but I'll see you around, man. Take care.
That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over.
Oh, yes. I remember that I was shivering. It was so bitter.
Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. That's what I was wondering. You got room in the omnibus. Or did they?
Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin.
Oh, why not?
It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door.
It was locked?
That's right. It's a public service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. I'm fair play. That's not fair play.
Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below.
Well, I can assure you I wasn't just looking down. I was glaring long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed.
So that's his excuse for looking down. I was going to say it would be natural to just kind of look around while you were riding along, but no, he's going to glare. Unequivocal, I would say.
I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight?
I mean, the angle they were at, and this is kind of what was occurring to me recently. They wouldn't have seen someone sitting in the seats directly below them, is kind of the thing, right?
Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the event in the cabins through the skylight and the floor of the upper deck. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
In that case,
there's a portion of the cabin's interior that would have been out of sight from you.
What?
By golly, really?
Are you idiots? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure.
But the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh, or the wood, as it were.
Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand.
I was going to say, am I going to have to actually present evidence here, but you will identify the area in this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. So, where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential... Yeah, alright. Like, right there, directly below them. Right?
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the floor are facing the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here. Let me just spell out the obvious for you bastards. That's right, my lord, as you can see, the seat opposite the one in which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it.
What?
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. Hey, burn the proofread on me, bastard. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude.
Can you, Naruhodo-san?
It's the murderer.
I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat which was out of sight of the witnesses on the roof deck?
I mean, we have no idea specifically. We could say the murderer, but he asked for a name. Put a name. I can't put a name to Jack. Nope, 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 nope. All the nope, every nope. Doesn't work. I mean, I could answer honestly and then say, well, it was the murderer. This could be a trick by the game. It likes to do that sometimes. Let's roll with I have no idea.
I have literally no idea. But as a proud citizen of the Japanese Empire, you will look to the sky and walk on, making sure all signs of tears are gone. You picked the wrong answer, dipstick. Go on. This isn't just a case of going on, Miss Suzuto.
All right. I'll go on. I'll do the thing. Oh, okay. So we're going to do... All right, fine.
The defense with a C would like to put forward a name.
This should be good. You are a fool. A foolish fool who foolishly tries to fool us with his foolish foolishness. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned, but about to be.
Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat.
We don't have a name. Just gonna say the murderer. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... Are you kidding me? Oh, okay, I see what they're getting at. Okay. What they're saying was there were two people in the seat opposite, and they could see them, but they were already saying that they couldn't see their faces because of the angle and all that stuff. They're implying that McGilded Boy here was sitting in the opposite seat. And Mason was actually sitting next to whoever the hell the murderer was. I think that's what we're going for here. Let's roll with that and pray for the best.
The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded?
What are you talking about, counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
Why are you still cold?
Objection!
Good lord.
There we go.
If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. I remember him apologizing for a few things. He has had to slam his foot. Usually he leads with, I apologize for doing this thing I just did. I guess this works too.
Lord Van Zeeks.
People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. I'm still going to be racist.
What are you trying to say? Didn't my math impress you earlier?
Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. I'm still not getting this. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built.
But that premise may be wrong.
What?
If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, It creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord.
Oh, crap.
Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Yes, their testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth.
What? You mean I was right?
It was someone else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify, and the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands. Both of them.
And who was this third party?
Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary!
Order! Order! What exactly are you postulating? The defense's postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes?
The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. I noticed these things. I literally said that before he said it.
And what particular style of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First?
Oh, I didn't know I was going to be quizzed on that. I'm afraid I don't remember. I guess I don't notice things that much.
And you call yourself a hatter? The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin.
How can you be sure?
Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would have undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact. Well, he was asleep, he claims. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. Facepalm. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled.
He did claim to be sleeping, on the stand. Slow pan. He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Except we already said why.
There is clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand.
Well, what say you, counsel?
The prosecution objects, my lord.
On what grounds?
As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police.
But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely?
Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out that the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion?
My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not?
I mean, again, I feel like we already got the answer to this. Why not? F it.
Yeah, we need to hear his testimony, what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand.
In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury.
Yes, I need a little time to consider this. This has been very stressful. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say.
Get the man out here, I say!
It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony.
I'm still mad at Beppo.
Hearing what the patron of my favourite little park has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely.
Yes, the jury says the man must be hard.
Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Getting close to that 5-hour mark, or that 3-hour mark, but I'm pretty sure it is just the one to be continued at this point, because we're getting pretty far into this. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Oh, is it right here? Is this the to be continued? Nope. All right, never mind. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day?
Oh, it's been most entertaining. I've been having a good laugh. It's been great. Grand stuff. To be sure I have, my lord.
There are now 2 matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person were indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police?
Begad, no. 'Tis not my nature to hide anything at all.
Just answer the questions, please.
The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell you so, or keep my mouth shut?
Tell us what, Mr. McGilded?
Here comes the bullcrap.
The fine fellow represented me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger.
It's true.
Aye, it was me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened.
You what? Help the murderer?
No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now.
I'm truly sorry, so I am, Mr. Earl Van Zeeks. I'm sure you'd be wanting to know why I said that when I was taken in by the police. I didn't even have it a very good reason, I assure you.
Which was?
Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see. His name was Cody Hackins. He's a grand fella. He's got a nice little katana. If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her in the courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord.
Not buying any of this. And who was this young child of whom you speak?
That I don't know.
You don't know?
Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. But we should totally believe the other witnesses who are lying out their butts. The prosecution calls for the witnesses' statements to be disregarded by the court.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings.
Ah.
Smoke! Fire! Look out! Someone's trying to get away! Cough! Cough! I can't see anything through all the smoke! What is going on?
Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo-san. Cover your face.
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. There's just smoke everywhere. Can't see nothing.
I hereby call for an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom.
Smoking and drinking. I love this courtroom. It's a grand place.
We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff.
I'll stay in here.
Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber.
We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that for the time being at least, the trial was suspended.
There we go. There's my little to be continued. So that's some fun. That's a good time. Alrighty then. So, we will definitely be finishing up during the next trial. Absolutely, 110%. And, yeah, good stuff. Enjoying it. Enjoying where the trial's going. Enjoying the new translation. Hopefully I'm not making too many people's ears bleed with my accents here. But I'm having fun with it. And, yeah, so next stream for this should be Monday. And it's going to be a later one because I have some stuff going on Monday. And I won't be able to start on this until probably 5-ish, like when I'm ending right now. So that could be interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see where that goes. It'll either be Monday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon, and maybe I'll just release the weekly hypnosis recording early. But I'm also going to be playing Terraria Sunday evening. Interestingly enough, like I was saying in another stream, that did get many more views than I thought it was going to get. So that is the chill out stream. That is the chat stream. If you happen to catch this and you do want to be able to engage a little bit more and have a little bit more of a conversation, it's kind of nice interacting with a smaller channel like this because I get to give you a little bit more attention. But we'll be chilling out with that and just hanging out, having a good time, and yeah. That, like I said, that's the chat stream. We're not so much story, we're not so much the platforming, the action, we're more just the hanging out. So be there for that. There might also be some collab stuff. There may be an Among Us coming up. I'm not sure if I'm going to stream it. I'm just kind of looking for good people to play with right now, so we'll see what happens. I will probably be recording it, though, so maybe it'll end up in a funny montage at some point if there's some good footage that I don't want to miss. So possibly look forward to that. There might actually be an Among Us stream going on today. I need to check Discord, so that'll be fun. But yeah, Terraria Sunday, followed by more Ace Attorney as we finish up the third trial, followed by the weekly hypnosis recording. We're going to finish up Celeste on Wednesday, and then we will be starting the fourth chapter of Ace Attorney. We'll be getting through this game as quick as we can, just 2 streams a week. And whatever else comes up, if we do any collabs or whatever, then we'll get right to that. I'm going to try to stream as much as I can. I didn't stream yesterday and I actually kind of missed it. I was sitting around going, what do I do right now? So I don't mind it. I don't mind it. But it certainly helps when there are more people around. So if you're seeing this, look for Twitter, check the schedule, see what's coming up. Be here when the stream is live, because the more people are here, the more fun we're going to have, the more engagement there's going to be. I mean, it's a live stream for a reason. I don't want to record these things and then just upload them. I want to spend time with you. I want to spend time with my homies. So make sure you catch that, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. It really helps out the channel. And we will see you guys next time.